meant to hurt you. Swear till the day I die. I never meant perfection. I never even tried. But if you wanna see it, and if you wanna feel it, we'll make sense of all this fiction. 'Cause when I botch, I mean it.
Good evening and welcome to the stupendous return of the Botchcast for us to talk about WrestleMania 38 that happened this weekend. Jimmy, how are you? You look tired.
Thank you, Stu. I am tired. It's taken me so long to get through WrestleMania. It's been ridiculous. The Hall of Fame, 2 nights of stupendous wrestling. It's been exhausting. I even slipped some AEW in there for our other friends of the podcast who enjoy that. I'm all wrestled out, but I am here. I'm ready to break it down. Break it down. Whoa, WrestleMania. To be honest, I think I've gone a bit mad from watching too much wrestling.
I think you have. He did that on the first take. Yeah, I didn't know he was going to do it on the second take. It was just bad the second time round. But thanks, Jimmy. So WrestleMania weekend is an auspicious occasion. We all get excited, no matter how rubbish the wrestling has been throughout the previous 365 days. WrestleMania does tend to bring us all back again, just to see what's going on. And that's certainly what it was the case for me. Kind of been out of, on the fringes of watching wrestling for a good few months now, but WrestleMania came along and it sucked me back in, Jimmy. I was sucked back in. Pulling me, like Godfather Part 3. They keep pulling you in. Is that what he says? I can't remember what he says now. Michael Corleone.
Well, that was the worst everything you've ever done. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. But you didn't even do the impression.
No, it just did me. But anyway, we're here to talk about WrestleMania 38 over the course of an hour. That's our promise to you. It won't be quite as grueling as the WrestleMania 38 live experience anyway. As has been tradition the last couple of years, WrestleMania has been split over 2 nights, the Saturday and Sunday. Do you want to get your thoughts on this? And it may be something we cover at the end, I guess, but do you like that format? I mean, I'm not so sure now. I wanted it but go on.
No.
I mean, okay,
that's
okay. I thought he was going to elaborate.
No, I will elaborate. You carried on talking. Let's do it now rather than come back to it at the end. We've only got an hour to get through two 700-hour shows. No, I don't like it over 2 nights. I like the Hall of Fame. I know lots of people don't like the Hall of Fame, but I like the Hall of Fame. So I quite enjoyed coming down Saturday morning and putting the Hall of Fame on and watching that with my breakfast and enjoying that while sort of doing the kitchen. And then I kind of like the fact that I can watch WrestleMania on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So that I like. It being on a Saturday night, I like. But 2 nights, I think it dilutes the specialness of the 1 night WrestleMania.
I think you're right, and I think this was evident last year as well. Like that second night was really padded out. We'll get into that when we talk about the second night. But just a lot of padding. But let's go back to the first night. It kicked off with the usual pomp and pageantry, with a rubbish rendition of what's that song? America the Brave, whatever. What's it?
The Brave or the Beautiful?
Whatever, yeah.
And the home of the free. No, it wasn't that one. America. Is it that one?
Yeah, but it was done by a country singer. It was awful. It kind of.
Was that night 1?
It was. It was. Yes.
Because night 2. So night 2, they had the lady singing it.
They did. Night 1 was the
she did a banging job. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
It was. It didn't get things off to a particularly good start.
But they're in Texas. He's probably a big Texas star.
Probably is, yeah. The first match was the Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs for the Smackdown tag team titles. A nice bright and breezy opener for me, Jimmy. I don't know what you thought. Let me just share my screen as we go through this.
I agree. Bright and breezy, free and easy, but that is not what I want for an opening. I thought this was pretty lackluster. Great wrestlers in there. Shinsuke used to be my favorite wrestler. I loved Nakamura. The Usos are a great tag team. Boogs is all right, but I was just thought it's hardly trying to attempting to steal the show, was it?
My question to you is: do they have a kickoff anymore? Because I didn't watch any kickoff. Do they have any pre-WrestleMania kickoff matches? They used to. This kind of felt
Everything
like
else has had a pre-show. Everything else had a pre-show. I'm sure there probably was a pre-show, and we didn't see the Andre Giant Battle Royal. That would have been on the pre-show.
Well, that was on Smackdown, wasn't it? The previous night.
Oh, was it? Oh, maybe they didn't have one then.
I don't think they did, unless. Which my point being is that this match probably would have been the kickoff match, quite frankly. But
it's for the tag team titles.
That's true. It was. Usos won it. I think that was inevitable. I thought it would have been a bit odd if they went into on Roman Reigns' arm on the Sunday night, not having dropped the titles. I think you kind of have to make Roman go in looking strong with everyone having a belt. Kind of does diminish the his allure somewhat, doesn't it? I think.
I agree. They should have the belts. It looks great, but the tag team belts have no real meaning now today. They don't give them any. They don't give them any pomp and circumstance at all. The tag team, but no belts apart from the two at the top have any interesting stuff. Oh, where was the Intercontinental?
Good point.
Where was Ricochet? That must have been on the pre-show if there was one. There must have been one because Ricochet is the champ, and he took it off. He took it off Sami Zayn when Johnny Knoxville did the distraction.
Yeah.
That's how little they care about the IC title. The cameras when Ricochet won were more on Zayn and Johnny Knoxville than they were on him winning the IC title.
Yeah. I'm assuming this is running in order. Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin was our next matchup. I don't really remember much about this. It was. No, do you know what my takeaway from this match was? Actually, I have just remembered. It was that, love them or hate them, this kind of Happy Corbin storyline. We all moan about WWE not doing long-term booking much really these days, but that's a story a year in the making, really, isn't it? Kind of his journey from losing all his cash, going to Vegas, and then making it big, and here he is now.
Not much of a story.
Well, no, but it's a story.
Yeah,
it's a beginning, middle, and end.
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess so. I guess it did have I guess there was a beginning, middle, and end. It's just how they got there was just. He was poor, wasn't he? For one part, he had a dirty shirt on, and then he got rich
mustard stains
at Vegas. Jesus,
but
Christ!
And again, it kind of the tone kept being set as from these early matches, and it wasn't particularly that exciting. Again, felt like a bit of a filler match, something you'd get on a lesser pay-per-view. The highlight being Drew McIntyre, chopped through the ropes on the ring with his big mighty sword.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, again, we'll gloss over that somewhat.
We done?
Yeah, have you got anything else to add on that?
Yeah, two things. One, I think Baron Corbin has potentially got a lot to give, but I never think much of his characters. I think he's got a good look. I know it was big a while back because Vince McMahon says how good looking he is and how ladies will love him. Vince really fancies him. But I think there's something in Corbin. I just don't know if he's there yet. And Drew, I feel a bit sorry for Drew because when Drew won the Royal Rumble and was going to Mania, I popped big for him. Yeah. That was probably the first sort of guy I'd got behind in quite some time. And I was building a star. And then he had he had to carry the belt during obviously the pandemic, and now I don't really want to see him. I've got no interest in him whatsoever, Drew. It's really sad.
Yeah, I'm kind of a bit lukewarm on him. Doesn't really seem to be going anywhere, does he now? You know, he's very much seems to be a mid-carder with no real direction, as is Happy Corbin, really. So it was kind of a very lackluster, moribund type of match.
Yeah.
But Drew McIntyre won it, and like I say, chopped the ropes from the ring, which would have probably made the big guys at the back who had to repair that groan somewhat. My next match, probably one of when the pay-per-view started to kick into another gear, really, was the Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. I loved this match. I thought it was really, again, energetic, quick, nice. Didn't kind of outstay its welcome. Logan Paul was really good. I don't like the fella, but he knows what he's doing, and he put on a performance. Thoughts, Jimmy?
Yeah. Ray is still awesome. He hasn't, he could be 100 under that mask. I don't know. He hasn't missed a beat, has he? He's still so good. And any match with him is going to be fun. And his son brings out some good stuff as well. And it's nice that they're together. I quite like seeing that. Miz, I kind of hate. I don't even think I like him as a heel either. But I agree. Logan Paul, he looked like he could be a wrestler. His hair, his physique. And yeah, he did some interesting stuff. And I don't know why Miz turned on him at the end. That didn't make much sense. But I'm with you. It was probably the most interesting match so far. Almost
at that point,
energetic. Yeah.
Do you know, I liked when Logan Paul was doing all the Eddie stuff on the top rope. He's getting some proper heat from that, would he? That was quite fun. Like doing the Eddie Guerrero little shimmy. So he's working the crowd. He knew he got a sense of what he was there to achieve, and I liked the Miz turn at the end. I don't know where that kind of puts them both. I haven't seen SmackDown or Raw since. So SmackDown hasn't been on, has it? So I'll be interested to see where that goes.
Raw. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess they'll
who's
turn
the face and the heel?
Face?
Yeah, who is the face? I don't know which way it goes. Because the only reason I can see Miz turning on him is he didn't want to share the spotlight, maybe, which is a very heelish thing to do. But Logan Paul can't be a good guy, can he? He's naturally a cock. So
yeah, well, any YouTuber is
that. Well, yes, quite right, Jimmy, quite right. But yeah, a nice kind of upswerve on the quality of the pay-per-view at that point. For me, your mileage may vary. Next up, Bianca Belaire versus Becky Lynch. Big time Becks for the Raw Women's Championship.
Can I just say,
go on.
This is where, for me, it stepped up. Okay. This was the first match that, for me, had more energy and excitement. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this. I know, something for everyone. Some people hate this, some people like it. But the pace that they went at, because sometimes the ladies' matches are a bit slow and a little bit soft. And it's not on them. It's just like some of the women are not fighters, not real life fighters, and they don't move like Rousey. That's why Rousey looked so good when she first came into it, because she could move quick and she's strong. These two, they went at it, and it looked a few times like they would just fight, looked like they were just shoot fighting at points. Lots of finishes. I liked Becky's look. I liked her villain look with her new haircut from where Bianca had cut her hair and her black clothes. Her Sasha, Bianca, looked great as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm pleased Bianca got the win after that horrible loss she suffered to Becky. I enjoyed this. Yourself?
Me too. Yeah, it felt like a moment of redemption, didn't it, for Bianca Belaire, following that really quick defeat to Becky. Was that SummerSlam? It was, wasn't it? SummerSlam, where Becky Lynch came back. And did you mention that? Sorry.
Yeah.
If you did, I'm sorry. But like I say, felt like redemption for Bianca. A really good match. As it went on, I was just getting more and more invested in it, and I didn't really go into it being very invested. But I guess it's testament to how well they performed and how well they told their story. That I was, by the end of the match, I was popping big when Bianca won, and became Raw Women's Champion. So yeah, really good. Probably match of the night so far for me. Actually, no, it was not probably. At this point, it was match of the night. Anything else to say on that, Jimmy? Or do you want to move on to?
No, just agree with you.
Yes. Next up, we had Cody Rhodes returned to WWE in a match against Seth freaking Rollins. We didn't know this was the case. Obviously, Vince had set up Seth to have a mystery opponent to be revealed on the night. Obviously, we had some idea that it was going to be Cody because he, rumored to have signed a new deal with the WWE. And yes, it was Cody Rhodes returning. And full on, from what I understand, AEW presentation to what we know when he came out, his theme tune and stuff like that, and his look and his name, and which I think is good. He built that brand and name up over there, so it makes sense for him to continue that over on WWE. But I guess there was a danger that he could have just come back as Stardust. But again, it was okay. I enjoyed it to a certain degree. It did feel a bit by the numbers for me, but it had a nice length and some nice false finishes, but it wasn't spectacular for me. But I think I enjoyed the occasion and what it meant over the match itself.
Because I didn't know he was definitely coming. Like, it was obvious he was coming to WWE. But I know there were still rumors that would he turn up on the Raw afterwards, or would this be it? So I did pop when he came in. I also liked what it did to Seth's character, because I've been hating Seth. I've been hating his all this laughing, rubbing his hands. Like, I don't even know what he is at the moment. Like, you said you liked him jumping on Vince's desk, didn't you? I hated it. Yeah. It was just too out of the world of realism for me. It wasn't that's not a real person, like, unless you're insane, and it wasn't believable. So when he was out there going, come on, who is it? Who is it? I liked that. There was a little bit of who is it? And when he came out, it changed Seth into sort of, this is my house, this is my show. What the hell are you doing here? And he wasn't as laughy or as stupid as he's been recently. So I liked what it did to Seth. I know, obviously, again, people like Midian, our good friend Midian, said it was a paint by numbers match for Cody. I haven't seen a huge amount of Cody's matches in AEW.
No,
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a hard hitting match. There's a lot of nice moves. Nice big finishes, nice counters of finishes. I liked Cody going to do the pedigree. There's a lot of hints, nods towards Triple H and stuff. And obviously Seth has been used the pedigree for a long time. I really enjoyed it. I was really excited by it. And the big thing for me was, I know it wasn't necessarily a dream match for a lot of people, but it could have been for others a dream match, someone who they really like from AEW, and someone they really like in WWE that you'd never think you'd see fighting. I was trying to talk to my wife about it, and she was like, "I'm not interested." And I said, "No. Let me explain why it is interesting." And I said, "It's like someone from EastEnders popping up in Coronation Street, the same character popping up in. It was like a crossover. It was like a crossover." Oh, blimey. So
put you off your stride. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. That's what I liked. It was like a crossover. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. It was exciting for me. And I still like Cody. I didn't grow tired of him in AEW because I didn't watch enough of it.
No, exactly. Me too. you can't grow tired of what you're not watching. So
No.
it was nice to see him come back. As with a little bit of a legitimacy about him. He was when he went, he was doing Stardust stuff and had become a bit of a joke. I guess, is it fair to say that? I don't know. Am I being too harsh? But a very much
Yeah.
one of those old style character wrestlers, with a proper weird old gimmick. But no, he's come back as his American. I've always loved the name American Nightmare. I think that's really cool, like gimmick and brand, if you like. But
yeah, and I like the fact he didn't have Brandy with him because everyone hates Brandy.
Yeah.
And I think in that point, I may be wrong, but I think at that point they've legitimately brought in a potential title contender. I put him up at that level. I think it raised Seth's game. I honestly do. I thought I saw a better Seth than what I'd seen.
Yeah.
Interestingly, if you haven't seen Raw yet, which was on Monday night, Cody did I thought it was brilliant. Again, our good friend Midian said it was shit and fake, but Cody came out and was talking about Dusty Rhodes and how when Dusty didn't win the title, didn't win the big one, the championship. Cody was a kid when that happened, so his dream was to one day win the heavyweight champion belt and put it in his dad's hands. That's what his dream was. But he said, but then he passed away, so I could never do that. And he said, but maybe I can do that. Maybe I can still win that for my dad. And he started to cry. And again, our friend Midian doesn't believe that it was crying, but to me, it looked like real crying. And I went to drama school. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I can spot it. So I think it's good. I think they've got legitimate. I'm loving these new buttons you're bringing in. So I think they've got another legitimate star there. I mean,
that's a ready-made story, isn't it?
And Seth came out to, and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And Cody put his hand out, and Seth shook it, and Seth sort of laughed, and then went off. So it's like, what's going on there? It's interesting.
Yep. Exciting future for Cody and so again, it's someone fresh coming. I say fresh. He'd been with WWE before, but you know what I mean. It's freshened up some storylines, and it's given Seth someone else to face up against.
Yeah. And everyone knows I love Seth.
Indeed. Okay, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I felt this was a little bit of a dud, to be honest. I didn't enjoy. I hate Charlotte anyway. I do not like her as a performer. Some may say, well, she's doing a good job then, but no, I just don't gel with her. I just don't enjoy her matches. I don't know. Sometimes you just don't gel with the wrestler, do you? I like Ronda though, and I don't know. This just felt a bit. I don't know if it's the Charlotte factor just sucking all my life and energy and enthusiasm out of the match, but I don't know. It just felt a bit, lackluster, I guess is the term I would use. Yeah.
I have a thing where I think I don't like Charlotte, and I go, yeah, I can't stand her. I hate her. And then I see her in a match, and I like how hard she hits. For me, she comes across like a genuine fighter. Like I was saying earlier, Rousey and Charlotte, I thought it looked like a real match. I think it looked genuine. I think she seems like a real bitch, Charlotte, and it looks like she hits people on purpose and tries to hit them hard on purpose. But I like that. I like people actually hit. I like it when people are snug. So I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this match as well as the other women's match. And what happened at the end?
So
how did Charlotte win?
The ref got knocked little the ref got knocked to his feet, didn't he, or to the floor rather, and then didn't Ronda make Charlotte tap out, but obviously the ref didn't see it, and then I can't remember the pinfall finish.
I know there's been so much wrestling. She must have cheated to get that win.
Yeah, it would have been a bit filthy. What does it say?
But there was one point.
Oh yeah, as Rousey attempted, sorry Jimmy, as Rousey attempted to revive the official, Flair caught her with a second big boot to score the pinfall and retain the title. So it was some.
That's right.
It was some referee shenanigans. I think we can put that down to.
Yeah, and a boot to the face, and it looked good. There was one bit where I think Ronda had her knee right up Charlotte's flare, and it looked really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of my lack of enjoyment from this match might have been because the other match was so good. I enjoyed that so much that perhaps that affected me later on during the evening for this. I'm not sure. I just didn't get on with it. But it wasn't a bad match, just not particularly entertaining, I don't think.
Fair enough.
But speaking of entertainment, so we were all settling down and thinking, well, okay, why on earth hasn't an actual match been main event for WrestleMania? Because they then were going to send the show out with the KO show segment with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But I loved how this played out. They're both sat down in the ring. Austin is obviously got his massive Texan pop when he's introduced by Kevin Owens. And then Kevin kind of just relays this elaborate tale of saying, oh, I lied. I got you here because I want one last match with you. I want a match with you at WrestleMania. And by Jove, we got it, didn't we? Stone Cold got another match.
Did we?
Yeah, it's amazing. No holds barred.
We certainly got something.
I love this. Did you not like
it? He absolutely did. Do you know what? As an enjoyment thing and as an entertainment fan, I loved it. As a wrestling fan, I thought there's a 52, 54-year-old man with shot back, shot neck, and shot knees beating the hell out of someone who could be one of their top men in the company.
Well, yeah, but I've gone past looking at wrestling in those terms. It's an entertainment product for me at the end of the day. And I know you can get down and pissed off about the minutiae of booking and get upset where storylines go. And I think this is kind of going to be a theme from how I view this show in general. But if you're entertained, that's what I think most. That's what I want most out of wrestling.
I was entertained.
If I want narrative excellence, I go to the cinema. I don't watch a 53-year-old man pulling Kevin Owens along by his vest, as we can see here. But
laughing. He laughed a lot, Stone Cold. Enjoy that.
It was a match.
Because at first...
Oh, you go, mate. I've spoken too much.
No, you haven't. But I was going to say, at first, he came out, and I thought it was a good entrance. I liked him throwing the stuff out of the ring. That was cool. He threw the KO signs out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Then his strap came undone on his leg, and I was like, "Oh no!" It's like the old man's shoes have come undone. Bless him, poor bastard. And then, when I saw that, I thought, I hope at some point he just takes ownership over it and just does it up with no. If your shoe's undone, I put my foot up on a bench somewhere and I do it up because I'm a man. I'm not embarrassed my shoes are undone. And Stone Cold did that, so I was glad about that. I did think the interview was a bit lackluster. I wanted more from Stone Cold. I think he was nervous, to be honest. So? And but once the match started going and you saw how much Stone Cold was enjoying himself, then I was in it.
I was putting on an old glove.
And the amount of beer he drank during the match.
Beer. I know, crazy.
I was amazed.
I was thinking about this throughout, there's several sections throughout WrestleMania where Austin appeared and he was drinking beers. I want to know what percentage of a can of beer he actually drinks, because a lot of it seems to go down his front. He's a very messy drinker. Is our Austin. But
he probably has about a quarter of a can, maybe on each
it
can.
can't be a lot. But
thank God it's his. Thank God it's his beer, because those beers are £9 a can.
No way. That was funny. Like the shots of the can, like decoratively placed in the corner of the ring, and the cameraman just taking like an artistic shot of it. Yeah, purely for the advertising. But it was a very fun match. It was better than it had any right to be, I feel, from Austin. But yeah, I as a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. I was grinning from ear to ear watching that whole segment. It was fantastic, and a great way for me to end, or for Austin to end the evening for me. It kind of summed up the whole of night one. Probably entertainment over wrestling excellence. But I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it was. It was. I admit it was good fun. I did enjoy it, and he took more bumps than I thought he'd take. He took a suplex, I think, at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Did he take it? He didn't take a stunner, did he? But he took a few bumps. I think he took one suplex, or he gave a suplex outside.
I'm sure he did take a stunner. Yeah, he took a KO stunner. Mm-hmm.
Did he? Yeah. No, as it went on, I was like, he's doing much, but between drinking the beers and doing the wrestling, like he didn't blow out like I thought he would.
I
thought he was laughing a lot as well.
Yeah, actually, he's in good shape, man. You know, obviously he's wearing a t-shirt, but no shame in that, Steve.
Yeah, I would have liked him to have been in like just his waistcoat or something.
Get his leather waistcoat on again.
What I was waiting for, because they were in Texas, was I thought maybe at some point Michaels was coming out, and I thought Taker might come out as well. Right. I thought they had an opportunity there to have the three big Texans all do their big moves to KO, because at least then he would have got finished by three of the big moves. Nice big super kick into a stunner, and then wheeling as Taker does one last to leave Taker in his suit, because he looked cool in his suit. And have that, finish with a stun or whatever. I thought that would have been nice, because they're in Texas. But anyway, I'm with you, Stu. It's great fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I know loads of people will have hated it, but it was a good laugh.
It was, and that was night one. Yeah. Do you want to summarize it a bit more, or are you happy just to move on to night two at this point?
Well, was there any other bits in night? That was night two, wasn't it? Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H. We're on to night two now. Let's crack on. So night two kind of kicked off on a somber note with Triple H. He previously announced that he was retiring from in-ring competition due to his heart condition. And we opened night two, obviously with the same pomp and pageantry as we did before, with the anthems and etc. But out comes Triple H. She comes out and says thank you to the crowd. Spits out his water as he does, leaves his boots in the ring, and just kind of very solemnly goes backstage. And it was, is a bittersweet moment, Jimmy. Really.
Yeah, I thought. He seems quite humble now, Triple H, which is mad, isn't it? Because I would have personally liked a bit more. I would have personally liked him to stay out there for a bit longer with a bit more "you deserve it" and a bit more. Because if that was the last time, I guess he'll be in a ring again. But this was his retirement moment, and I think he deserved. I think he deserved more. I think he should have stayed out there long. And I know that's his choice. I don't think for a second any Vinnie Mac or anything would have gone, you got 2 minutes, that's it. I think this was probably Triple H's choice, as not to take up time from other wrestlers, maybe. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen him out there longer with some "you deserve it," and some tears, and maybe even some of the wrestlers clapping. I like a nice send off. I like a nice send. I'm an emotional guy.
It's just something weird about the imagery of just leaving your boots in the middle of the ring.
Like he's
Why are your boots?
spontaneously combusted.
That's exactly what it looks like. Like your wretched, stinky old boots. Just leave them in the middle of the ring, like you have blown up. And yeah, I don't know, but I guess it's
an old tradition, isn't it?
probably a tradition.
Hanging up your boots.
Yeah. So yes, Triple H, you've had a wonderful career, and that was a poignant send off, I think. Our first in-ring action for the evening of night 2 was the Raw Tag Team Championship match between RK Bro, Alpha Academy, and the Street Profits in a triple threat. I can't really remember much about this, Jimmy, to be honest.
I like these. I like all of these people in this. I like Alpha Academy at the moment. So you got Chad Gable doing a sort of Kurt Angle style thing by telling people to shoosh. Is that what he does?
It does.
Shoosh. I kind of like that. And he's ripped. He looks great. I like Otis being the big man there. I enjoy RK Bro. I enjoy watching Randy Orton clearly really enjoying himself. I like the Street Profits. I think Montez Ford could be a superstar if they push him right.
I sense there's a butt coming.
And no, I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't, again, it wasn't a hardcore, cool wrestling match. It was fun and jumpy, and they even got to at the end have a bit of a drink together, and they brought in old what's his name, Gable, the new signing.
Stevenson. Yeah, Gable Stevenson.
Gable Stevenson.
Still Stevenson or Stevenson. I can't remember. The Olympian.
He's an Olympic wrestler.
Yes.
Gold medalist or something. Didn't like his body shape.
In what
Didn't
sense?
have much of a bod on him. Oh, he looked like he had a gut and no shoulders. He looked like me. Like that. He looks like, you know, when they have a non-wrestler take their top off in the ring. And
I know exactly what you mean.
Like,
yeah. I wouldn't say that to his face, but yeah, I think you
I
would.
I would.
Have a dad bod off.
Yeah. But they got a chance to have him out. I thought it was a good fun match. As I say, I like these people. It's weird seeing Randy with all these young guys though. He looks like a dad at a party. But he's still cool enough to do it. Yeah. So I was happy with this match. Yeah. Good fun.
Yeah. And RK Bro reclaimed the Raw Tag Team titles.
Retained their tag team titles, didn't they?
They weren't.
Or did they reclaim them? Who had them? No, RK Bro had them.
Did they?
Yeah, they came in with them.
Did they?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because they came down.
He did, because old Riddle had
and
he had it, he had it around his shoulders.
And they had two snakes fighting each other. The CGI snakes fighting each other.
There was a lot of CGI, weren't there? Throughout the
team. It looks so bad. Why do they do it, Stu?
I don't know. The Undertaker one was weird. Like whenever the Undertaker was coming out, they just had like this really badly animated and drawn like picture of the Undertaker. Weird. Obsessed, aren't they? I don't know.
So it's just for the people at home now, isn't it? I guess they'll see it on the screens, the people looking at the big screens.
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but it's like someone's got themselves a new graphics package and they're desperate to use it. That's what it feels like. But,
yeah, none of it works. I haven't seen any of it work yet.
No.
At all.
Bobby Lashley versus is it Omar or Omo?
Omos.
Okay.
Omos.
Omos.
It says it there.
Well, I know, but I don't know how you pronounce that. It could be I don't
silent S. Omo.
Well, yeah, okay. That exchange is probably more entertaining than the match itself. No, not really. Vince loves he likes like a spectacle match, doesn't he? He always likes a big guy take on like a not as big guy, and then like the not as big guy to overcome the odds and beat the big guy. Like ever since like Hogan slammed Andre, he's like been obsessed with like recreating that moment every fucking year. And I don't know, he just loves that imagery, doesn't he, of the big guy and the small guy. I'm calling Bobby Lashley small, but comparatively, he's still bloody huge. But I don't know, just forgettable, to be honest. Forgettable.
Well, yeah, considering just before Lashley went away, he was the champ, and then he had an injury in the it was just before the Elimination Chamber, wasn't it? So they made it that during the Elimination Chamber he had an injury, so he had to leave. He's coming up against Omos. I don't know what you do with Omos, to be honest. He's rubbish. I liked him at first as being like AJ's man, walking around with him, being
AJ's
intimidating.
man.
AJ's boyfriend, AJ's fellow flat earther. He was AJ's bodyguard basically, and he'd walk around standing behind him, looking massive, and it worked. As soon as you put him in a ring and him going, oh, like big men, they rarely work today. Andre was a one-off, and then Undertaker's probably the best big man of all time, isn't he? Who else is like Giant Gonzalez, that sort of stuff? It just doesn't work.
No,
who's your man, Carly?
Yes, he's my man. No, granted, Carly was rubbish, but yeah, I guess the last, it's like they're trying to get another. Let's get that Braun train running again. They let him go, but
Braun was a good big man. He could move, couldn't he, Braun? He was explosive. He was good. Yeah. He was probably only a little bit bigger than Brock.
Get him back. What's he doing these days?
Braun?
Yeah. Do we know?
I think he's on maybe a couple of independents. I think he's done. Yeah. But what do you do with Omos? Like, how do you have him? How is he good? I don't think his type of wrestler just doesn't work in this era. It worked back in like the 80s. Because it was a bit more over the top, with Hogan and everyone. Whereas now, this guy's not, these people aren't trying to hurt each other.
Yeah.
And this big giant idiot just walks around shouting.
It just feels like one step beyond the suspension of disbelief that you're meant to give. He should be able just to destroy all of these people because he's just like twice the size and twice the weight and twice the strength. But no, we're meant to believe that, in the David character, in this David versus Goliath. But no, come on.
That's what's funny about big men, especially Omos does it a lot. If he gets hit once, stumbles around like this, grabbing his and he comes back up and maybe gets hit again, and then he puts the person down. Yeah. It's like he does the same thing every time. Roman actually used to do it. He'd always grab his head. Like they don't find other ways to react to stuff. They're just bad actors. Move on.
Speaking of bad actors,
beat him. No. Oh yeah, he is a bad actor. Yeah.
We got an anything goes match between Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. This was bizarre. It just felt like an episode of Jackass, which I guess is what they were going for. Any particular highlights for you, Jimmy, from this?
Loads. I really enjoyed this. I think this had no right to be as much fun as it was.
I know.
Highlights are Johnny Knoxville. I could see definitely said, "Oh, when you give me a kick, actually kick me." Like you could see they didn't hold. No one held back on him. It was like when he was in the Rumble, everyone did their finishes on him, and he took them all because he's mad, isn't he? Probably the biggest highlight for me. 2 points. One, Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn. I thought was incredible. That's more incredible than Omos getting body slammed or anything. Wee Man body slamming Sami Zayn.
It's like the reverse.
How did he do that? Yeah. How did Sami's that's not easy. And he held him up there for a while. It wasn't just like, okay, don't worry, you just do the motion and I'll jump into it. He sort of held him up there a bit. And then the haluva kick that Wee Man took from Sami Zayn.
Almost took his head off.
Yeah, and you could see he actually whacked him in the face. It was great. I enjoyed the mouse traps as well when they threw them out, threw Sammy out on the mouse traps. I enjoyed Party Boy dancing. I thought that was funny. And I even enjoyed the big mouse trap at the end that didn't work at first. So Johnny knew how to make it work because clearly he had been involved in making it. Oh, it's great fun.
Do you know, I did love this, and it was the contraptions that did it for me. It was
the big hand,
the massive hand, the
that was brilliant. It came out of nowhere.
The oversized mouse trap, the big boot thing, kick people in the nuts.
Oh yeah, to the cock.
It was just fun. I had a smile like this all over my face watching it, and that's what this show is all about. I don't need.
And Sammy sold it all.
Yeah, he did. But I think he was happy to. I felt it came across that he was having the time of his life. He's on WrestleMania, man. You know, I don't know at what point we was at in the card, but he was, you know, it's WrestleMania. He's getting a massive payday, and he's having all this fun in the ring. Oh, it's just glorious. Glorious.
There was a tased at one point. Tasered at one point. I think he turned it off just as he got to him. But I thought it was great, and I still have quite nostalgia for Jackass. I did find it funny. You know, it was when we were younger, and it was. I like the music. The now like it does sort of go. Oh dear, something stupid's going to happen. And he seemed to really enjoy it, Sammy. And I'll tell what made me laugh while I was watching it. I was thinking him and Kevin Owens are like best friends, aren't they? They're best mates. Have been since they were really young. The idea of them going, "Was WrestleMania? What are you doing?" I'm just getting dragged around and beer poured on me by Stone Cold. What are you doing? Getting beaten up by the guys from Jackass. Brilliant. We've really hit the top. We've really reached for that brass ring.
Amazing.
Jesus, KO's main evented WrestleMania, but just got dragged around and beer poured on him.
So good. But next up, we had the women's tag team championship match, Fatal 4-Way, Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Carmella and Queen Zelina, who were the current champs. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and Shayna Baszler and Natalya. Again, this was a match for me to check my socials. To be honest, I didn't pay much attention, Jimmy, so I do apologise.
That's okay. I paid attention.
Thank God.
Do you know, like
it was a waste of Sasha Banks.
It was a waste of Sasha Banks, a waste of Rhea Ripley, a waste of Shayna Baszler.
Yeah. Just a waste.
Maybe a waste of Naomi.
And Liv.
Naomi could be pretty good.
Yeah.
I like
Liv.
I like Liv. I mean, did you see what her and Rhea Ripley were wearing? Dressed as Batman and Catwoman.
No.
They came out dressed as Batman and Catwoman.
I paid that little notice.
They were in like S&M gear. S&M Batman and Catwoman. Okay. And then when they were posing in the ring, Liv Morgan was down on her knees holding Rhea Ripley's leg like she was her sub. It was very weird. If they're not going to make a storyline out of that, I don't know what the point of it was. Sasha Banks came out in a car.
I saw that
snazzy car. Yeah. Shayna Baszler. Again, I loved Shayna Baszler, and I saw her at the Hall of Fame. She was wearing a suit, you know, instead of a dress like all the women. She was wearing a suit, and she had like black eyeliner on. She looked fucking cool. I think she's so good. And when they first brought Shayna up, and she was just demolishing people, and they put her in that Hell in the Cell, and she just did everyone one by one, and even went over to the last remaining pod. I think Asuka was in the pod, and she was holding Liv Morgan, like in like the Karakuda clutch or whatever, in the corner, just showing her. She's a genuine fighter. She's real. She's MMA, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she should be up there with Ronda. And yeah, I guess it was an opportunity to get these people on the card, give them their payday, let them enjoy themselves. but agree a waste of some really good wrestlers here.
Yeah. But Sasha and Naomi came out as the new champs.
Yeah.
So
What do
well
these
done to
belts
them.
mean? No, these mean less than
Yeah.
the men's tags. Like,
Sadly, they do. Yeah. Up next, Edge versus AJ Styles. This was long and laborious for me. Oh, so dull. Like well, no, it's like not unintentionally, needlessly long and dull. It's like they would, again, going back to that theme of the second night having loads of padding, like loads of recaps from the first night, Undertaker coming out again, this match being like needlessly padded just for the sake of it. I quite liked the ending though. I liked Damian Priest interfering and costing AJ the match. I liked that angle. And I'm interested to see where they go with that. I don't know. Could it be like a new brood or whatever? I'm not sure. I'm just speculating there. But yeah, I don't know. Just really dull. Really dull.
His comeback seems like long matches has been his thing he's been trying to do, haven't they? Like when he had that match versus Randy Orton, which was tipped as like, was it the greatest wrestling match ever? Yeah, greatest wrestling match of all time. I think that was long. His match before him, where they tried to kill each other on the truck, that was really long. I agree. When Edge came back, I was very excited. I popped for him at Mania. I was excited, but it seems to have just sort of lost a bit of momentum. I agree. I liked Damian Priest coming out at the end. And have they fixed his teeth?
I don't know.
I think they've fixed Damian Priest's teeth, because previously I looked at Damian Priest and I was like, he's a kind of good-looking guy, but his teeth are a bit fucked, and he's got this face. I'm not loving him. And then when he came out, he's got this face that I wasn't loving. Then when he came out on this, he had a bit of stubble. He
looked all right, didn't he? Yeah.
A bit of hair. He looked sexy. And I was like, no, hang on. This is because I like my wrestlers sexy and muscly.
I do.
And I was like, this is someone I can get behind. And talking about them, talking about what they're doing next on Raw, Monday Night Raw, these two came out together to Edge's music in like black suits.
Nice.
And doing a bit of a, we're the dark, broody men.
Well, I think the WWE they're big on Priest, aren't they? They like him, and he does have he has a distinctive look. I'm not sold on him in the ring at the moment, but
no,
but I don't think I've seen a great deal of him in the ring, to be honest, to get sold on. But yeah, he's got potential, I think, and that's a duo that has potential.
I did see something on YouTube saying like WWE building team around Edge. If anyone's been watching AEW, like AEW is just all about the factions. It's all factions in AEW, and I like factions. You could do, it's good when you've got a numbers game against one person, your hero. It works, doesn't it? That's what you need. It's like, all the factions, DX and all of them, all the
factions. Say factions again.
Oh, Christ, so tired. The factions. Who were the guys who did this with Farouk and The Rock and what they call?
The Nation of Domination.
Nation of Domination. Yeah. You need it's nice to have a big group that one guy can stand up against and tear through.
Yes, I agree.
Build up a faction around Edge.
Gives you more
him on his own.
Gives you more storyline opportunities. It's that's a nice image, like a gang of 5 against just the one. And then you got I think it gives you more opportunities to tell interesting stories.
Did you like the end of the match? Did you like the spear to the? He was going for the phenomenal forearm and he got speared in the air. That was all right.
It's nice. Which is too long for me. Too long, purely. I don't remember this at all. I was thinking, someone mentioned the like Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston coming out as Big E, and I thought I don't remember them coming out. I don't remember this match at all. Did I pay any attention?
Yeah. No, it was weird. It was weird. You've got your Butch. You got Butch outside. Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne, who was incredible in NXT. You've got him dressed as a Cockney chimney sweep sort of thing. They all came out looking like, I don't know what, like Irish fighters from the past. And it was over quickly.
Yeah.
You're like that. You could have taken a few minutes off of Edge and AJ and given it to these guys. You had Butch on the outside, Pete Dunne going nuts, being aggressive towards people and stuff, and then they just the Irish fellas just won really quickly. And then Butch came in as, I think he was beating up Xavier when he was on the floor, and I had to pull him away. And they're going, "This Butch is out of control." It's like, oh Jesus Christ, yeah, crap. Why was this? Is this second to last?
No.
Yeah.
Then we get Pat McAfee.
Oh,
yeah. Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. Pat McAfee, again, continuing the tradition from this WrestleMania of, like, I don't know. It's unfair for me to call him a non-wrestling, because from the video packages, he's trained a lot. He's wanted to be a wrestler a lot of time, a long time, a lot of time, a long time. You know,
a lot of time.
And he put on a performance for us. He defeated Austin Theory. You know, he's like springing from the mat to the top rope and stuff. I mean, obviously, he's a professional football player. Well, was. So he does have.
Have you not seen him wrestle before?
No, I didn't see his NXT match with. Is that Michael?
So you had
with Adam Cole.
Michael Cole. Yeah, Michael Cole. I think he had 2 matches in NXT, maybe even 3. No, I think it was 2.
I haven't seen him. I came to this cold.
I really like Pat McAfee. I think he's a brilliant commentator. I think he genuinely seems excited. He genuinely sounds like he hasn't got Vince in his ear telling him what to say, because he says some weird stuff. I love it when he jumps on the table and starts like rocking out. I really like him. So he was this podcast. He was an American football player, and he was this podcaster. And then he had Adam Cole on his show, and they from NXT, and they set up Adam Cole having a guy at him and walking off. Then Pat came onto NXT to sort of commentate, and Adam Cole gave him a bit of shit. And then Pat McAfee booted him in the head, and then that led to this feud. And they had a War Games. Pat McAfee was in a War Games match.
Okay.
And it was fucking brilliant. Pat McAfee did if I'm not wrong, not a shooting star press. He did one of the big moves from the top of the cage.
Really? Okay.
In War Games. It was brilliant. He was really good. And his match with Adam Cole was good as well. And this, I really like McAfee. He's been saying that he's been saying, I think I should be in the ring. I don't think I should be commentating. And I tend to agree, even though he's great at both.
I think he would be missed in the commentary booth. I don't know. I think there's more to lose with him becoming a wrestler than there is to gain from him becoming a wrestler or transitioning to the ring, I don't know.
I agree with that, because I think I love him on commentary.
Yeah.
I think he's the best commentator they've got.
Oh, by far.
But they've just had him beat someone who they could be pushing. Like Austin Theory's good. And they've had him. They should have had Pat beat a schlub, really.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, they see how he goes. Give him a run. See what he can do. There's no harm, is there? I guess you can. If he fails, you can always go back to the announcing booth and still be an amazing announcer. But what happened after the match? Because Vince was at ringside with Austin Theory, and Vince. I'm trying to remember how this played out. So after the match, didn't Vince kind of distracted McAfee somewhat in saying, like, come on.
He went over and had a bit of, first he went and he was walking off with Austin Theory, wasn't he? A bit annoyed with him. And then Pat said something to Vince, and then Vince was looking at him, and Pat was like, "Yeah, come on," and Vince was like, and then Vince pretended to take his jacket off, and then didn't, and the crowd went, "Oh," and then he did it again and pretended, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then oh, and then he took his jacket off and started to undo his belt, and his face as he's staring, he's got those big old fish lips now, and he's like, look like Blakey from On the Buses.
I hate you, Butler.
And he got in the ring in his vest and trousers. Yeah. And then Austin Theory took down Pat from behind, which was the start of a 77-year-old man being able to beat up Pat McAfee, who had just beat a guy who they're trying to push.
Yes. Now, I mentioned before I don't want to get like bogged down in like wrestling narrative and wrestling, all that kind of bullshit wrestling, but this didn't make any sense whatsoever for the reason you just said. This leathery old man in his 70s, late 70s, maybe 80. I don't know how old Vince is, but he's old, man. He's leathery and crusty, and he's just like giving Pat, like throwing him into the turnbuckle, and Pat's like pretending to be like as if he's like his chest is like being concaved in, and the football, the drop kick with the football into Pat McAfee's guts is what is meant to have finished Pat off. That's how Vince gets the pin. And yes, he does pin Pat McAfee. So it was just horrendous. It felt like it was Vince's ego just kind of, you know how he gets. He had this grand idea, and he wanted to do it no matter what people were saying to him, no matter how shit people said it was going to be. But he just went through with it. But yeah,
the only reason that kept me loving it, because I did really enjoy it, was that it was Pat.
Okay.
It was that it was Pat McAfee. And I knew that Pat would be loving it. I knew that the same way I'd love it.
Okay.
The same way I'd happily go in there and get clotheslined by Vince McMahon.
Perhaps I just need to give into it a bit more. You know, I was willing to forgive like the previous night and a bit more from the second night. Perhaps I just needed to let Vince in, just let him kind of wash over me and just enjoy it. I don't know. Perhaps it's one step too far. I'm not sure. Possibly.
Yeah. You don't need to open up any more, Stu. You're open up enough. Your legs are wide open, buddy. Like, don't worry about it. But what was interesting as I was watching this, I was like, "Oh, this is mad. They've got Vince here, and they had Stone Cold last night. What a trick to be missed to have them both on the same thing." That's what I was thinking. Was you thinking the same thing?
I was.
And then,
out he pops. Out pops Steve. Glass breaks.
The glass smashes.
And we're treated to, I don't know. I think it was you. You said it best on a message to me, Jimmy, where we were treated to a stunner by Steve on Vince, ultimately. And it was like the worst stunner known to man. But what did you say? You said something about him kind of just Vince dribbling down
his back, yeah.
He
just fell down his back, didn't he? Vince has never been good at taking stunners from Stone Cold. Never been good at taking them. But this was the worst thing ever.
He stumbled back. Austin like missed his head. Then Austin had to like reach out, and then Vince fell to his knee. It was just a whole thing. It's like when your nan falls over. That's pretty much what it was like.
Yeah.
Your nan falls over.
Can we show it? Surely we can show it.
Let's see. Yeah,
so bring it up on the YouTube. Might be worth reacting to because it was a moment. It was a moment. Whilst I was watching it, Stu had already watched WrestleMania Part 2. So I was sending Stu voice clips as each sort of moment killed me with laughter. I couldn't believe what I was watching. That was things like when Vinnie Mac got in the ring and took everything off. I couldn't believe I was seeing it. I couldn't believe he was actually doing it.
Yeah, I've got it. Let me just share the right screen. I'll turn the sound off. It's a thing of beauty. Here we go. Let's just full screen this. just collapses. His knees just give in. Oh, Vinny.
I was worried for Vince because we've all seen Vince run and jump into the ring in his prime and both his quads blew out. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And he has to just sit down. And I was thinking, how's he going to even get into the ring? Somebody's going. So, do you know, I've got to give him credit for what he did. You know, and I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it.
Finally, Jimmy, and we have gone over the hour mark. We're 1 hour 5, so we'll have to wrap up. No, we've done all right. We got the unification match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I'm still not sure I've formulated my thoughts on this. It was very much a typical Brock Lesnar match, really. Didn't really, I don't know, didn't set my world on fire. It was, it was quite brutal, and some of the moves are quite, looked quite, you winced when some of those punches and stuff, the German suplexes started to come in. I don't know.
Well, I know what you mean. Things that happen in Brock matches. He takes a couple of their finishes and kicks out. The ref gets knocked over. That always happens in Brock matches. He gets hit in the nuts. That's Brock's weak spot, getting hit in the nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
He probably gets hit with a belt or something. It's the same sort of stuff. I'm loving Brock at the moment. I'm really enjoying Country Brock. I like their introductions. That was really good. That was a lot of fun when Heyman introduced Roman and then Brock introduced himself. But I'm with you. It wasn't. Yeah. Was it the best match these two have had?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. As sad as it is. It just felt, I don't know if it's because of the length of the show at this point. We had watched a lot of wrestling by this. And you just kind of I just wanted it to be over at this point. And that's really sad. Because this is your main event. It is a spectacle match. It's Roman Reigns. He's been, he's been a fantastic champ. He's been a fantastic heel over God knows how long now. And, Lesnar is Lesnar. He's just, you just have to watch him, don't you? He's just one of those people you just need to, you can't stop yourself from watching. And this match should be like, it should just be magic, but it just feels like it never is. It just always feels like the same kind of damp disappointment, like a dull grey British Tuesday afternoon, or one of my Christmases.
I know what you mean. I think I recall enjoying Brock versus Roman when Roman's face got split open and he had like Roman had a blood covered face. I think I prefer Brock against people who can really go. I think Roman's got his set menu of stuff he can do, but like Brock versus Balor and Brock versus AJ Styles and Brock versus Daniel Bryan, I thought were incredible matches, because those, you've got two very different people who can do what they do really well. Roman, I mean, how did Midian describe Roman? I think he said he's a great character actor at playing this character, but when it comes to being a wrestler, he's not.
Feels like
he's not really up.
He feels like he's like trying to play his way for some Hollywood roles, which is probably a fair comment, to be honest. Trying to set himself up for some big time Hollywood roles, going the Rock and John Cena route, which I could quite easily.
Which he could probably do.
He's Jason Momoa type.
Guy, yeah. But I don't know how you. I've enjoyed some of Roman's matches actually, where he seems to be like losing it with when he was wrestling the Usos one at a time. That was quite nice. There was a nice story in there, and I did enjoy it. And I didn't know who was going to win. I wasn't. Some people may think maybe I'm being an idiot thinking that, but I wasn't 100% it would go on Roman. I was probably
Okay.
more like 50-50. I didn't know. So when Roman pinned him, I did go, oh, you got it.
Yeah.
So I was surprised, which was nice. But yeah.
I think there's something you said there is quite. I would agree with. I think Roman always comes across better when he's got more authoritative presence over whoever he's facing. When he's a bit more threatening, I guess. But with Lesnar, you kind of think, well, Lesnar in real life, Lesnar could just break your spine. So I don't know. Perhaps something is lost when Reigns is facing someone of an equal kind of or greater threat to him. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking out loud at this point, but yeah, it feels like something between the two doesn't stick and doesn't kind of gel really. But
yeah, I know what you mean. There's something about it that's Brock. I like Brock as this face, but he's a brilliant heel, isn't he, Brock? And to overcome Brock is what you want your hero to do.
Yeah.
So when he's the face and Roman's the heel, but Roman's not really too much of a sneaky heel. He is a big guy. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's a weird sort of disconnect, but I still enjoyed it. I still had fun. I managed to get through it.
We did.
I survived
We did.
WrestleMania weekend.
We survived WrestleMania weekend. We survived the Botchcast. If you could sum up WrestleMania 38 for me, Jimmy, in I don't know. Well, I was going to say 3 words, but just give me your summary. Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed WrestleMania weekend. My wife says, "Oh, you got a lot of wrestling to watch, because it's WrestleMania." I go, "Yeah, thanks. I'll be in the kitchen." And as I say, I enjoyed a Hall of Fame. What you keep saying, the pomp and pageantry,
yes.
I really enjoy still. When I watch an AEW pay-per-view, I can't always tell it's a pay-per-view. It looks pretty damn similar to their regular shows. So I do like that still in WrestleMania. It feels special. And so I enjoyed a lot of the matches.
Yeah, I genuinely loved WrestleMania 38. I had a great time watching it. There's some ups and downs, but this is like 10 hours of wrestling. There's going to be peaks and troughs in like your levels of enjoyment. But overall, I generally came out thinking I was bloody entertained. There's some good wrestling on there, and I came out wanting to continue watching WWE. So, it's done its job. Vince has done his job. So there we go. That was the Botchcast returning for you. Our final word on WrestleMania 38. I hope you've enjoyed it. If we do get a good reaction, I was thinking maybe we could do these for some other special events. Maybe, I don't know, whenever there's a big pay-per-view happening. I don't know. We'll see. But I've enjoyed doing it. Jimmy, hope you have too.
Yeah, no, great fun. We should definitely. Well, I originally came on to the Renaissance Men to talk wrestling because I had no friends to talk about wrestling with.
We lied to you. We got you on and then didn't actually talk about wrestling.
Yeah, quite. That said, I think the Renaissance Men's podcast is better as other stuff, and a lot of the people that listened weren't always into wrestling. So I think this is good doing a separate thing, and I'll definitely do other episodes and
excellent.
Maybe even a watch along at some point. Watch along would be fun, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. I have considered that in the past. Yeah.
It does mean staying up late.
Well, that can be done, Jimmy.
Really late.
That can be done. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So, I've got terrible windy pops. I'm so sorry. Thank you for joining us. Until the next episode of the Botchcast in the near future. Thank you. Please take care and goodbye. Thank you.